Hi guys, what's up? So today we've got tips and tricks on how to get off the bench. So I was gonna plan for wide receiver stuff with Willie and cone drills and whatnot, but we had a major rainstorm come in and this camera's not waterproof. That's gonna be when this thing passes. So for right now, we're gonna talk about, since I have a lot of commenters on some of my other videos that say that I'm just a simple bench rider. Well, you know what? I know how to get off the bench. Because there's a lot of people that I've seen play JV and varsity and they sit on the bench. And I've started to notice a couple reasons why. You can't really deal with politics. And with politics, what that is basically your coach just, for some reason, has it in for you. I don't know, you're too new to the team. You know, his son is the quarterback and you're trying to be a quarterback. All those reasons that your effort won't do anything. That's what people say with politics, technically, is all the stuff you can't control. But the stuff you can control is like, well, first of all, when you're during a game, don't be standing like in the third row. Be on the sideline. Kind of be the guy the coach tells back up. Because you want to have your toes on the line. You don't want to be on the field because that's an infraction. You don't want to be in the coach's box, that's an infraction. But you want to be right there. And as I said before in my heart video, how to have heart and what you should do, you should be yelling ball when the ball is thrown. You should be yelling run. You should be noticing if it's going to be a run. If you're a linebacker and your defense is out there, you should be studying your position well enough that you can be able to tell whether you're on the field or on the sideline, whether or not that's gonna be a run. Before the ball's even hiked, you should be able to yell run. You kinda don't wanna spook the defense, but you should be able to the moment they fire off. Like, you know it's gonna happen, the moment the ball's hiked, you start yelling run. That's how it should go, you know? If you're a defensive back and you're watching a thing, watch the DBs. One, figure out what they're doing that makes them on the field more. Two, if the ball's coming their way, yell ball the minute it's thrown, and then when you see where the ball's going, yell out the receiver's name. That's what to do on like game day. Because the more you're involved, the coaches notice that. Even if you're on the sideline most, you should sort of have a sore throat by the end of the game. Because you're technically calling plays. And when the offense is on the field, make noise. Because if you can make more noise, then that might get your team to make more noise. And the more wall of noise coming off your sideline, that might screw up, they can't hear their calls. Especially if they're signaling calls, maybe not so much. But if they're trying to physically audible a call to a receiver near your sideline, he may not be able to hear it. And if he hears it wrong, he's gonna run the wrong route. That's internal tactics, but you know, if you are the one shouting all the time, if you're the one calling ball calls, your coach is gonna notice. Another thing that gets you off the bench, taking all the reps in practice. It doesn't matter. If they need an outside linebacker and you play free safety, but the free safety's already out there, jump in an outside linebacker. Who knows? You might, and just work your hardest. I've never played that position before. Well, guess what? They need you on the team. If your team is full of decent guys, they'll tell you how to do it. They'll give you the pointers. Like, oh my God, I've been a linebacker the entire time and we need a lineman. So go out and be a defensive lineman, you know? You just don't have pass coverage. It says in practice, do it in games. You know, I understand you probably shouldn't put one of your slot receivers out on the defensive line, but if you're a husky linebacker and they need a defensive lineman and you're just not out there at linebacker, go in at, be ready to go for defensive lineman. One of the kids in JV I saw, he was kind of JV varsity at the same time. He is now swung up to varsity full-time. He was like half junior varsity, half varsity. But now he's all varsity because he steals kick returns. Like, he yells mine, but he'll run across the field and steal it from the other kick returner. And then he'll run it back like nobody's business. So that's in putting that extra effort on the field. Number three, another way to get off the bench, when you do get actually on the field, go full hardcore. If you're in at the fourth quarter, guess what? The game is perhaps decided by then, but not necessarily. As you've seen in multiple NFL games, and as I saw last night, the game was not technically decided until the last 2 minutes of the game. They put you in defensive end, and your job is to pass rush. It doesn't matter. Pass rush the hell out of it. If you can plow into that quarterback, That's certainly going to give him something to think about, and it might make him hesitant in the next couple plays, and your coach is going to notice that. Because if the other defensive end is not nearly as good at that, and you seem to be giving full effort all the time, you're definitely going to be further up on the depth chart. You know, you can maybe move from third string to second string, so when that defensive end gets sick or whatever, or flunked a class, and he can't play that game or that week, guess who they're calling on? Another thing, and this is kind of particular, my team uses it, and I'm not sure how many other teams technically use it. There's huddle. Now I understand junior varsity, college, you all have like film sessions. But that's the thing. If you have a login to make your highlight films on Huddle, and you're also allowed to see, you're able to see the game, watch the game. If they say, oh, here's the thing for the next game, because we're gonna go up against South Lake High School, and they post, here, watch this film, and you don't watch any of it, you ain't getting off the bench. Watch it, watch your position, watch all of it. Don't just watch the other team's offense. Because if you're on defense, don't watch the other team's offense. Watch your defense too. Watch their defense. Figure out what their linebackers are doing. Figure out what your linebackers are doing. Figure out what their offense is doing. Because the more you can key your reads off the team, better. And that works on the sideline too. Again, calling ball, doing that stuff works well. But also, like I said, learning on the sideline. Learning to spot a run. Watch enough film. Be that. Huddle tracks how long you watch film. If you didn't know that, tips and tricks, life hack. Huddle tracks how much time you watch film. Now, can you technically just sort of let it run in the background? Yes, while you dink around. That's also gonna show on the field. If you are just letting Huddle run so you can be the number one, it's like streaks on Snapchat. You tend to like, if someone just sends you a thing that says streak, that's it. That's all they send you, and they have like a 200 streak, they don't actually care. If the person is just letting Huddle run, but then can't produce on the field, take a while to guess what they're doing. Watch film, and be up there. Be like one of the top scorers on, watching film. Because your coach, it's a simple click away to see which players watched how much of film. I accidentally saw the screen when my coach was switching over and we were doing a film session. And he's like, oh, okay, click, 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 click. And then the thing froze for a second. And it was like, I was third and Sean was second and someone else was first. I think the coach was first because he had to mark up all the plays. And I was like, sweet. Again, mental reps. Now, this applies all the time. Even if you're injured and you've got a broken collarbone or you're in a full-blown leg cast, you can still pull out Huddle on your phone and just look at and watch it. And you can tap back and scroll and watch. You can watch film round the clock. People post their games all over the internet, and you can search for it. There are college games that are sometimes played out, put all up on the internet, all 3 freaking hours of it, commercials and everything, and then it usually gets taken down because copyright, but they're up there all the time because some people think they can get away with it and get some views. But you can find mental reps around the year. Let's say you're picking up free safety this year. You only were third string with some physical training when the weather's nice. But every day, if you think, oh man, the weather's really crappy. Well, maybe the weather's really crappy. Maybe the weather is too crappy. Maybe you're snowed in. If you still have internet, you can do mental reps. There's no excuse for that. If you have time to play Madden 17 or 18, or The Witcher 3, you have time to do mental reps. Other thing that gets you off the bench, sadly, conditioning. Do conditioning throughout the year. Don't just do it during football season. This is why the multi-sport athletes work really well, is because they play sports round the clock. When they get done with football, they move right onto basketball. When they get done with basketball, they move right onto soccer. And you're like, man, this guy's such a great receiver. Well, it's because he's running all the time in soccer. He has to get pretty agile in basketball, and on the top of that, during the middle of the week, he's probably putting in ladder drills. That's that. Put in work in the off time. Just because, if your coach tells you, hey, be to practice at this time, and that's the only time you practice, and you're still on the bench, you're probably going to be staying on the bench, because I guarantee you there's someone outworking you. There's always someone outworking you. Those are my little tips. Oh, one last thing. Your coaches are getting effectively younger. See, I'm 35. Willie's like 26 and he's coaching junior varsity and could easily probably coach and does coach varsity to an extent. There are people in their 30s that know how to use the internet. So don't think that we're old folks and we're unsavvy with the internet. It is true that the guys up in like their 50s that are probably varsity coaches and have been varsity coaches for like 10 years at your school probably don't know how to function the internet pretty well, but your other coaches are. If you got a pretty young coach, I guarantee you they probably know how to use the internet. And the stuff you post on social media, don't friend your coaches. To an extent. That's the one thing I've seen. Don't friend coaches, because then they're gonna look at your stuff on social media, and if they're like, man, he's thinking around, oh, whatnot. Your attitude on social media, 1, might get you put on the bench, 2, might kick you out of a scholarship. That stuff's 2. That's for a different video on how to get recruited. And I'll talk with Willie about that one, because he actually went to college ball. But yeah, watch your social media stuff. Just don't do stupid stuff on social media. I fell prey to that one too, but anyways, I will catch you guys next week. I'm definitely going to find sometime in the middle of this week when it's nice to film that with Willie, even if it's not on actually Friday. Final announcement. There's a link below so you guys can get 10% off Sisu mouth guards. You click that and you get 10% off. You know, videos up there if you want to see it. It'll also be a video at the end. But remember, 10% off Sisu mouth guards. Stuff arrives in like 7 days, and they are great. Because if you want to see my video, it's up here in a card. It's also going to be on the end outro. I will catch you guys next week. Bye.